Программа «Вечерний эфир». Время теплого общения и размышления о Боге.
Дорогие друзья, сегодняшняя программа будет проходить на английском языке. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, our first time and long time listeners. You are listening to Slavic Christian Radio, the voice of Piligrim. Today we're coming at you live from Bellingham, Washington, and we have in studio with us Nick Gavrilov, with whom we'll be talking about taking a deep dive into a subject that touches most people, even though we don't like talking about it, and it's called debt. What is debt? How do millions of people find themselves in debt? And how to pay off $84,000 in debt in 18 months? All of that and more in our evening show live today with your host Aleksey Chayka and our guest Nick Gavrilov. Hello there, listener. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, our radio network airs live shows at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We bring you guests from all over the world and get to discuss tough questions that we as Christians face in modern day. Tune in and do not miss it. Also, recordings of our live shows are now available on our awesome podcast. Find it by simply searching The Voice of Piligrim in your podcast app or SoundCloud. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Oh, well, welcome back. You're listening to Slavic Christian Radio, The Voice of Piligrim. Live in studio with us, we have Nick Gavrilov. Hello, Nick.
Hello, Alex. Thank you. This is a beautiful evening, and I appreciate you having me on the show.
Thank you for coming on. It's been long overdue. We've been talking about this for a while.
Yes.
That's an interesting subject. So, Nick is a deacon at the church Living Word Bible Church in Ferndale, correct?
Correct.
How long have you been a deacon there?
So it will be 2 years coming up in April.
2 years. Wow. That seems like a long time. We've been doing radio for just a little over a year, and it seems like it's been forever. I can only imagine being a deacon. So, out of curiosity, just give me one thing. How has it impacted your view of the church now that you're a deacon and now that you're kind of behind scenes taking care of majority of the things? How has it impacted you?
Well, one of the biggest things that really has stood out is the relationship we have between my wife and I and our children, and just how much deeper we are in understanding what God wants for us here on this life, and just kind of seeing the Bible unfold, and all these puzzles coming together. It's just been a beautiful journey to get closer to God and walk closer with Him.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
Well, I'm a man of a wonderful wife. She is one of the most amazing things in my life. And the Lord has blessed us with 5 beautiful daughters. And I'm 31 years old. I've moved to the Northwest from Sacramento, California in 2005. And at first I had huge regrets. I thought going from a big city to a small, tiny town, like, what am I doing here? But ultimately, I just saw that the Lord was doing amazing things in my life. And to this day, I see, and I just like, man, this is all Him. Praise you, Lord.
Yeah, that's awesome. And real quick, actually, I really wanted to mention, looking at you, you would never say you got 5 kids. You would never guess it in the world. I think your wife takes pretty good care of you too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Quick question. So now that the holidays are over, I mean, what do you really live for? Like, how is the mood? How's the mood now that all the Christmas music everywhere is gone? What's going on?
Christmas season is a special season for us. But I don't let Christmas affect us other than spiritually, but ultimately we're just thankful that Christ has come to this world to die for us and to show us a beautiful example. So, I mean, the mood is great. I love New Year's. It's a little reset button. You can kind of just look back and reflect on the things that 2017 has brought us, and just to see what has God done in our life, and achievements and goals that we've set, and where have we grown in marriage, in theology, and just in general. And then we can kind of set newer goals and things to look forward to the next this beautiful year of 2018.
Yeah, that does sound good. The flipping of the page itself, knowing that it's in a way a clean slate, tax-wise and everything else. But
absolutely,
we are here to talk debt, and it's good to talk to debt in someone who was in debt and is actually out of debt, rather than someone who was in debt and still is in debt. So I honestly cannot do this topic by myself and talk about it, how you got to pay it off. So this is why we have you, and for our listeners, $84,000. Paid it off, 18 months. Wow, amazing. Yeah. So give me just like literally one sentence snapshot. 84,000. What did it consist of? What did you have?
I've had, let's see. Well, we've had a car payment. We've had, I took out some money from my retirement, my TSP. Let's see, I borrowed $10,000 from my dad. I've had credit card debts, and that's about it. No student loans, but just...
But all of that put together is $84,000.
Yeah,
man.
Yes.
Wow. So, okay, just to start it off, let's talk about just the simple thing of debt. I think that if you were to take someone 50 years ago and you said the word debt, it would mean something else to them rather than what it means to us now. Right now, what do you mean you don't have debt? How can you live without debt? So that's the mindset of the modern day of people that are like, my age, maybe your age as well. Not that we're too far away. But so what is considered debt? What is debt? Talk to me about that.
Very simple. So debt is anything you don't own outright. It's credit cards, it's loans, it's loans to your mom or dad or your brother or your sister you borrowed, or grandma. Credit cards, your mortgage. Just today I was at the mall, and we stopped by a jewelry store to get our rings shined, and we were talking to the store manager, and I just simply asked her, I'm like, hey, what's your New Year's resolution or your goal? She goes, I really want to get financially set, and I'm like, oh, what does that look like to you? And she says, well, in 2 years we will be debt free. I'm like, that's awesome. Is that including your mortgage? She goes, oh, no, not the mortgage. We don't count that as debt. That's part of living. So but debt is absolutely everything that you don't own, you have no rights to, and absolutely, yeah.
Dang. Yeah, so pretty much half of the things in my house, so to speak.
Yeah.
So in reality, we tend to close our eyes on debt, right? We think debt, credit card, $500 here, $3,000 there, car loan. All of these things are technically understandable. You're kind of expected to have all these things in order to kind of jumpstart your life. But in reality, what is wrong with debt? When we actually talk about debt from a Christian perspective, what is wrong with having debt?
That's a great question. What is wrong with debt? Well, first of all, debt, biblically, it's something that before we started getting rid of or out of debt, we came to a point where we got to do something. This is not right. We're paying on a car here. We had 4 maxed out credit cards, shuffling things around. And we looked and we're like, this is silly. So what does the scripture have to say about this? And Bible 100% discourages debt. Any kind of debt. And just quickly, I brought up just three simple verses in Romans 13:7-8. Pay to all who is owed to them, taxes to whom taxes are owed, revenue to whom revenue is owed, respect to whom respect is owed, honor to whom honor is owed. Owe no one anything except to love each other, for the one who loves another has fulfilled the law. Or Proverbs 22:7, the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is the slave to the lender. So, I mean, clearly, and there's many more passages. I mean, you can find 20 to 30 that, you don't have to look much for, where the Bible doesn't really call it sin, but it just strongly discourages you not being in debt. And basically what it does is, I mean, you become a slave. I mean, you have no freedom. You go to sleep. Personally, me, I went to sleep thinking about money. I wake up and I kept thinking, okay, are we going to pay this? How are we going to pay that? And I mean, it just really disables you from being, this man or person that God wants you to be. It limits your abilities to give money to the church, to your friends and family, to bless someone in a crisis. And there's a lot of them out there in this day and age. Missionaries, vacations. I mean, just
all the things we love.
Yeah, that's just the first aspect. And the second, how it really just why it's such a wrong thing. It really affects you as a person. I mean, your health. It triggers your, the way how you sleep and you think, your mind, your stress, your weight. You lose or gain weight. Intimacy, with
everything.
your wife. I mean, just absolutely everything. And believe it or not, money is the number one leading cause in America that leads to divorce. Yeah. So if you want more problems in life, hey, buddy, get into debt.
That's so true. Yeah. And, out of all the things you listed, the one that mostly resonates with me is helping others. I grew up in a family where I saw my parents do that all the time, Oh,
awesome.
And, you see, and that's what it kind of becomes. So I have that natural, I guess, urge to, if I see someone in need, hey, but being in debt, it really ties your hands behind your back.
Absolutely.
And you're just like, oh, come on.
Yes.
It's really tough.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So it's definitely wrong from the biblical standpoint of view. So as a Christian, there's no way you can argue. However, would you say that it's wrong to live in it? Oh, my bad. Would you say it's wrong to live in it rather than is it okay to maybe, jumpstart your life through debt? I don't know, student loan, credit card here to buy a couch, or your standpoint right now is just go cash.
Absolutely. From where I was at and where I am at now, there is no way I would encourage someone to go into debt, into student loans, or buying a credit card so you can get a better credit score, or go get a car, finance it even though they offer 0%. I mean, anything like that, I strongly wouldn't. I mean, the only place where I'm still where it's okay is for a home purchase with limitations.
See, I agree with everything except student loans. I think sometimes student loans are useful, but that's a discussion for maybe later.
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
Right. So talking about debt, would you mind giving me just a small overview of just debt in America? I mean, we live in America. We're surrounded by people every day, Russians, Americans, Chinese, all kinds, right? So on average, what's going on in America when it comes to debt?
Yeah, so check this out. 8 out of 10 Americans own credit card debts. I mean, you think about that. That's significantly a large percentage.
That's a lot of people, yeah.
And just today we were walking with my wife, and I just said, honey, look, 10, just pick a group or a crowd, and 8 of those people will be in debt. And that's crazy. I mean, and those, you have young and you have older and you have middle class or middle age. And it's sad to think that there's so many people out there living in debt. And this time and age where we have the resources, we have the information, we have the internet, right? What our grandparents didn't have. So a couple statistics in America right now to this day. America is over $992,000 billion in debt.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Debt is a way of life for Americans these days. A household debt increases by 11% in the past decade. And today, the average household with credit card debt has a balance of $16,425. And the average household with any kind of debt owes $135,924, and that's including their mortgages. So as we can see today, on average, people have over $130,000 in debt. It's interesting to know that older people have more debt. Well, that kind of makes a little sense if you think about it. I mean, they get houses, they have property.
I would think it would be otherwise, though.
Well, they
The
have
appetite hits all ages.
yeah, it does. But if you think about it, the older you are, the more things you want, right? I mean,
you're right.
you
Yeah.
get second houses, third houses,
Yeah.
fourth houses.
You worked hard. You
Yeah.
deserve it.
You get a cabin house, you know,
Yeah.
you gotta, I mean, why a boat? Get a yacht, right? I mean, why a small
Absolutely.
dinky car? Get yourself a nice luxurious car, right? So, I mean,
Cadillac.
yeah, so.
all the way.
Yeah, but the most interesting fact is that young women have the most debt.
Young woman.
Young woman.
Yeah.
So if you're a young woman out there
be
listening,
careful. And if you're a young man looking to get married, also be careful. All right.
Absolutely.
Dang. Wow. Okay. So these are. See, I gotta say, I find myself somewhere as an average American
Yeah.
in this picture. Wow. But that's pretty crucial statistics. And the thing is, what shocks me the most is that when we say debt, when buying something on a credit card, what we really are talking about is a person knowing I don't have money to buy this right now, but I will kind of borrow it in advance. But I feel like if we had to actually go take the cash from somebody and then go give the cash back to someone, I don't think we would be in the position in society where we would be. The plastic really makes and online purchases, they really make it easy.
Yeah, and especially the things that we buy, you know, like we sometimes don't even think about the things that we're buying on plastic. We would definitely think twice if we had cash in our hands.
Absolutely.
And especially when you're standing there at McDonald's or Jack in the Box saying, hey, here we go, Big Mac, extra cheese and all the fries, and my friend Buddy, what do you want in the back? You know, I mean, you're going to be thinking about yourself if you're paying cash.
My favorite quote from Dave Ramsey is he said that if you actually had to take the paycheck at your work, take the cash, go over to the next table and pay taxes in cash, we would have a completely different Congress elected. I think that's true, because then we would know, hey, I'm actually giving away $200, $300, $400, $500 every paycheck just to support the guys sitting in the White House, you know, that are making the law. So I think the plastic really, really, in a way, screwed us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're definitely making a lot of money from us. And as you probably know, McDonald's was one of the first ones, the food chains that started accepting credit cards because they realized that people tend to spend more using plastic because nothing happens, you know, and so.
Yeah, that's tough. So partially the reason why we invited you is because you not only have the understanding of debt because you've taught the Dave Ramsey Financial Freedom class, but you've gone through it, you've experienced it firsthand, and you came out as a winner. So shine some light to us. 84 or 83,000? How many?
About 84,000.
84,000 in a year and a half. 18 months. Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
That you know, some people don't make that much in a year and a half.
I don't even make that much.
So that's the thing. It's what happened. I guess give us an overview before we take a break. Go for it.
Of course. So when we first got married, we moved up from California, and friends, family, we all had credit cards, and you're just ranking it up and buying things that that won't matter in next week probably. So in the first 5 years, we accrued $324,000 in total debt. That's including our mortgage, and only making under $65,000 a year. So part of that was our mortgage, $240,000. $24,000 was an auto. $10,000 was a personal loan to my dad. $11,000 I borrowed from my TSP, which is my retirement plan. Ooh. And $39,000 of that was our 4 maxed out credit cards.
Oh man!
Best Buy and
Costco, Chase,
American Express and American Airlines. Yeah. So
looking back, how is it? What are the emotions now that you look back?
You know, I can't believe how foolish we were. Yeah, like I just look back, I can't believe it. Like
something is off, right? It's just not registering.
Absolutely, yeah. So at one point we're just kind of, I guess we just got sick and tired of being sick and tired of making these payments and not really seeing these numbers get lower. And we started looking around like there's got to be ways. There's got to be people who teach and do this kind of stuff. And we started looking around. I mean, paid one guy $100 or $200 and didn't really work. Started listening to someone else, and Nothing. And then one of my best friends, Vitaly, mentioned, "Hey, there's this guy, Dave Ramsey, and he's a Christian, and he loves to help people in debt." And I was like, "Okay, man." At that point, I think we were ready to to jump in.
Give me anything.
Yeah, give me anything. So I started listening to him on YouTube and then podcast, and then found out that he has a class. It's a 9-week class, Financial Peace University, and that is what helped us tremendously. I mean, that's where we really just sat down and started writing everything down and started going from there to see that, hey, we can actually make this. And it was impossible, we thought. I mean, this would take us years to get out of this hole. But you know, we made some really, really, really big decisions and started cutting corners everywhere we can. From selling our second car, and you imagine having a family on one car. It was tough. We had to borrow our car from parents and from family.
Wow.
But yeah, after 18 months, we paid off $84,000, which is all of our debt except our house. So that was a good feeling. And after that, I mean, from day one, I mean, we chopped up our credit cards, and we just started going cash only all the way.
So literally cash only.
Everything. Absolutely everything.
Wow. That's amazing. So just to explain to our listeners, you literally get your paycheck, you cash it out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't put it in your account.
Well, I did, because we had the mortgage payment. So
well, yeah, for mortgage payment, but the rest of it,
everything was all cash. We literally cut up all of our 4 credit cards, and we started negotiating, calling the credit cards, asking for lower interest rates, and just closing these guys and paying them off from the smallest balance to the largest. And
dang.
It was amazing. I mean, a lot of credit to my wife. It's so nice to have a partner, because otherwise there's no way we could have done it. No way.
That was going to be my next question. Your wife, was she on board from the beginning? Did she join you halfway, or was she the driver? What happened in your case?
You know, it's amazing. Our marriage, it's hard to say if there's one stronger than the other. Almost everywhere where you look at, we're usually on the same page at the same time. So we both got inspired. We both got on fire. And we were both like, what are we doing? Where can we save some more? What can we sell? What can we get rid of? So yeah, she was definitely my partner. And I got to give a lot of credit to her. So it's amazing, because, you know, in every marriage, there's a free spirit and there's a nerd. So
yes, that's right.
Yeah. So I mean,
Are you this free spirit?
I'd probably say I'm the nerd, even though I'm not that big of a nerd. But she does do the majority of the shopping, so that's why I think she would, you know, get the groceries and she'd buy the clothing and stuff like that. So
I see.
Yeah.
Dang, that makes sense, but it's tough. I mean, it's easy to say 16 months, but I tried to get on diets, and 3 days in, you're dying and you just can't, you know. And when we're talking, it's an actual addiction pretty much to swipe the card, you know. You have to do a lot of breaking. What was the biggest obstacle in this whole process for your family of getting rid of all this? What's the biggest obstacle?
Well, I think I'd probably say is just the weird way of living. You know, you're looking around, everyone has their good lives, and I think that's what our problem was, is we were comparing ourselves to other people, you know, to my younger cousins and, you know, siblings, and it's like, they have that, well, I want that too, and and they're doing this, but now we're not. It just kind of felt weird and kind of felt shamed a little bit, but you know, just keep plugging along, and just, you just know you're doing the right thing. And this is going to be so beneficial to us and to the family, and you know, like I mentioned, we look back now and we just laugh about it. You know, where
kind of dug yourselves in and then had to get out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, a quick question. Now, this just came to my head. So, does it become literally like your number one priority during those 18 months, or is this just something that's always in the background and you're aware of it, or it literally becomes a goal? A goal that's you wake up and you're like, we got to keep going. What's it like? What's the right approach towards this if you want to actually do it?
Yeah, well, excuse me, well, you definitely want to be taking this seriously. I mean, because the more serious you are, the faster you'll pay it off. So that's what I was seeing. And like I've mentioned, we were on one car. It was hard. It was weird borrowing a car from my parents, and they're looking at us like, why? You guys are okay? And we're like, no, we're not.
We are not okay.
Yeah. I don't want to go into details, Mom and Dad, but can we please borrow your car for another month, and a couple of weeks here or there? And I had to borrow my brother's truck for a little bit. But it was on our mind more than I wanted it to. Like I said, it's one of those things you literally wake up and you think about. Our discussions, our plans, we make vacations or whatnot, clothing and giving. I mean, it's all around money. And by not having money, we're constantly talking about it. And it's not always pretty. It's not always pleasant. And it's not like, oh yeah, what do you think about this? Like, ooh, how much do you think we can hear? So it was on our mind a lot, I would say.
Okay. Well, all right. We are going to take a small break right now from this discussion, and then we will be back to discuss more on how to actually get out of debt with the real advice from Nick G. Stay with us. Hello there, listener. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, our radio network airs live shows at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We bring you guests from all over the world and get to discuss tough questions that we as Christians face in modern day. Tune in and do not miss it. Also, recordings of our live shows are now available on our awesome podcast. Find it by simply searching The Voice of Pilgrim in your podcast app or SoundCloud. Thank you and have a wonderful day. And we are back here with Nick Gavrilov, and we're talking about debt. You guys are listening to the Christian Slavic Radio, The Voice of Pilgrim. Talking about debt as in something that is absolutely negative, something that society doesn't really push to be a negativity. Having credit card debt, having a car loan, student loans, and consistently living in debt, biblically wrong, and just it's not healthy. It's not healthy for your relationships at home. And that's the thing, you mentioned, Nick, relationship with wife, it does get affected by debt. It does get affected.
Oh, yeah.
And it's either she gets affected because you're doing something, or you get affected because she's doing something, that you don't agree with. But
yes.
Here we are to help our listeners, the ones that find themselves in any amount of debt. It is possible. Let's just put it this way. It's possible. A lot of people paid out a lot of debt. If you would listen to the Dave Ramsey stories, just incredible. Over $200,000 of debt, up to $500,000 of debt. And people get out of it, and it's amazing. It's doable. So now here we are. We want to talk about how do I actually do it? Like, It's not just say, well, yeah, we're going to get rid of it. That's it. Let's set a goal. No. Literally, what do we do, Nick? Tell me.
So the number one thing that helps, well, like I've mentioned from the very, very beginning, is the very first thing you do as you are listening to this right now. You reach for your wallet, you take out those plastics, and you perform a plastic surgery. You just take some scissors and cut up that suckers and just get them out. Just get them out of your wallet. And one of the things that have really helped us till this day that we are still doing every single month is a written budget plan. This is where you write down your income, how much money is coming in, and everything that is coming out. So a couple of things that I may share that we've done, and there are so many more, and just depending on your situation, there's amazing, so many things that you can do in your personal life to assist with getting out of debt. And let's see, so starting from credit cards, number one thing is, the first thing I did was I called up all the credit cards, and I've told them, hey, I am getting out of debt, and I need a lower interest rate, and they, of course, didn't buy it. So I asked for
I was like, no way that worked.
Yeah. So I told them, I'm like, hey, I'm going to stop paying you guys. I'm going to stop paying you guys, and I need to talk to your manager. There's no way I would have stopped paying for them. That's not right to do. And so I spoke to the manager, and I told him, I'm like, hey, listen, I need to start paying this off. And they did. I mean, some lowered my interest rate by 5%. The biggest one was American Airlines. I went from 22% all the way down to 4.5%.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was great. So that really helped us out. I would not encourage opening another credit card, but I know people who have, just for the sake of the 0% balance transfer fee. The catch is if you don't pay them off within 16 months or 18.
It'll start anyways.
Yeah, you are going to get hit with the entire first initial balance.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so even if you might have like $100 left, they're going to hit you with 24% at whatever you transferred. So in my case, be $20,000 on American Airlines.
Wow.
Yeah, so you definitely want to take advantage of that, but make sure you are going to pay them off way in advance. Student loans, that's a good one because there's a lot of education is great. You can definitely look into refinancing your loan. I know a lot of people have done that. Auto, consider selling your car and buying an older, reliable car. That's what we did. We sold our very nice, what was it, like a brownish bronze Infiniti, and had to settle in my 97 Honda Accord, which I've had for a very long time and drove for almost 200,000 miles.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's some dedication.
Yeah, but here's the interesting part. So in the first 4 years of a brand new car, your brand new car will depreciate anywhere between 60 and 70%. I mean, so if you think about it, I mean, you're buying a brand new Mercedes, BMW at 100,000. Well, guess what? In 4 years, your car is going to be worth around 40,000 to 35.
Yeah.
And statistics have shown that it's not a certain type of car, a Honda or a Toyota or an Oldsmobile or, the Buick, what they said back in the day, or the Mercedes, they hold their value. No, it is absolutely every car between 60 and 70%, it will drop in value. So why take the hit on such a big depreciation? Home, if you are renting, you can rent smaller. If you're owning, you can always consider downgrading. Taking the wonderful opportunity of this time we live in now, where the homes are high, so we can definitely cut by that. And if you are, there's a couple things that we did around our house is reducing the amount of water we use, the electricity, utilities. I mean, I remember even telling my wife, hey, we're going to just set the temperature just a little lower. So she said, come on, what do you mean? We live in the Northwest.
And all of these things are done of the downsizing your rent or taking care of your car, downgrading, is to free up some cash so you can pay off the debt.
Absolutely.
So all of the cash you free up, towards the debt. Okay.
Correct.
So that's what we're doing. We're downsizing.
We're doing anything we absolutely can, from making garage sales, looking around your house, looking around your room. There's many things that you can just sell and put it on Craigslist or offer up, or there's many other apps that you can just sell some stuff.
Yeah.
From phones, it's you can always consider changing your plan, and that's exactly what we did. We said, hey, you can actually call them, and they will tell you, hey, on average, this is how much data you use, and then you get the smaller plan and try to at least go with that. I mean, I'm not telling you to, just kind of savvy your life.
Live on a street in
the
rags.
No, absolutely. It's just you can do this temporarily just to get out of debt, and then you can go back to your normal life living just without credit cards and all the debt. Food, definitely, absolutely, guys, there is no more going out. People spend way too much money, and you probably know that. And on average, people will save about 80% if they ate at home, making their own food from scratch. Entertainment is a big one, so no more entertainment unless it is free. That you can take amazing walks down the park with your beautiful spouse.
And free.
Yeah, and it's healthy for you. Another small one is reoccurring payments, such as gym memberships, apps, or Netflix, or other things that you got going on. You can just simply look at your bank account and say, hey, there's something coming out every single month. I probably don't need that.
Actually, here's how I found things that are coming out.
All right.
I didn't make any purchases on a credit card for a month. And then you just go on to see, and it'll literally have only the automatic ones because you didn't slide the card. And you actually see, everybody that took money during that pay period.
Oh.
And that really helped me to see, hey, I got these and these 2 memberships, and I didn't even know. $30 here, $20 there, that's $50.
Yeah, it quickly adds up.
No one's gonna give you $50 just because.
Of course, right?
So that's definitely helpful.
You know, and the last thing that I do want to encourage everyone and suggest is the Dave Ramsey FPU class. I mean, they're available in almost every city, and something you can sign up. And I think it's only around $100 or $120, but it's a free lifetime membership, meaning that if you want to come back next year or in 10 years or 20 years, it's absolutely free. So, and the wonderful thing is that this man, Dave Ramsey, he goes into details and tells you how to do things properly and set your budgets up and all that good stuff.
Yeah. And I do have to confess, I guess, to our listeners that I'm also guilty, just as probably 8 out of 10 of you are. I am also in quite a bit of predicament, but the good news, I took the class. Listen to Nick. We took the class. We started in September and we finished it in the middle of November. Since that time, it's been like pretty much since we started the class, it's been about 3.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
We paid off over $10,000 in debt.
Wow.
So
That's
it's a work in progress, but we actually started taking those steps. The biggest problem we ran into is, I'll give you an example and tell me what you would do.
Mm-hmm.
So, as 2 of you are driving home after you took a walk or something, and you're driving past maybe your used to be favorite place where you would drive in and pick up maybe a nice and good chicken sandwich, like Chick-fil-A, for example,
Oh, yeah.
And then one of you makes it look like you forget about the fact that you're paying off debt, and you're like, hey, let's grab a sandwich. And another person deep inside knows you're trying to pay off debt, but they also feel weak, and they're like, oh yeah, let's stop by. And and both of you are going in there. So what do you suggest? Did you deal with it? What do you do?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, looking back at our expenses, the first time I did a written budget, it took me about 3 hours. And I was just blown away with the amount of money we spend on food. I mean, I could not just believe it. So in that moment, I love the Bible verse where if one falls down, the other will help him up. So if one has this thing going, it's great to have these conversations, such as, are we really hungry? I mean, because if you're hungry, you can't say no to food, right? Yeah. But if it's just one of those things you want, if it's in the budget, don't even think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, just go ahead and grab yourself a burger or chicken burger, whatever.
If it's in the budget.
Yeah. If it's out of the
key.
budget, that's where discipline comes in. This is where it's great to kind of have that small conversation. Yeah. Hey, we're almost there. We're halfway there. So it's not about this burger, but we need to stay in so that we can quickly get out. So.
Yeah. And when you do that, don't take it personally. Don't take it. I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, no, you don't want me to have that sandwich because you're not hungry.
Exactly.
It's one of those things.
Yeah.
So that's definitely fun. But yeah, you just gotta. I think that plan is what helps, and we are still working on this transition to the cash only. It is so hard with all of the online payments that you're making. It is crazy. I do know a family. They take out all the cash. Whenever they need to make a payment on credit card, they make a payment on credit card. The next day, they work over to the bank, put in the exact amount of cash on and then make the payment. That's it, like the next day.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just dying. Regarding to food, I looked at our budget, and it is crazy. Because if you go into Mint, you can see historical data. Mm-hmm. What did you spend? It was over $5,000 we spent on eating outside of a home in last year.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
I'm
pretty sure that if I just bought a bag of rice, kept it at home,
make some plov.
Yeah, I know, sprinkle a little bit of turmeric and maybe some pepper and salt. It'd be so much cheaper. I'd probably spend $50.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. It's just that really hit me. Just understanding that, hey, I did not have to spend those $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's crazy. Okay, so you mentioned Dave Ramsey. What does Dave Ramsey? Tell our listeners about that. What can they do? How can he help them?
Yeah, so it's very simple. So Dave Ramsey, like I said, he's a Christian man. He loves the Lord, and he basically applied all the biblical principles to paying off credit card, which is not being a slave. If you owe someone money, pay them back as quick as we can so that you can be in freedom. Once you're in freedom, you're no longer a slave. So He was born in the early 60s. He's an author. He's a radio and television host, motivational speaker who teaches people how to get out of debt. So when he was 26 years old, he lost a lot of money. He was in the real estate. He filed for bankruptcy and all that good stuff. Now he's about 57 years old and worth over $55 million. He wrote a couple of books, and the class that he offers is a 9-week class, like Alex, you already mentioned, pertaining to finances. Absolutely everything, from life insurance, from savings, from paying off all your credit cards, how to build your budget when you're renting, insurances, auto. I mean, all that, everything in life that pertains with money. He will talk about it there.
Yeah. And I just want to add that if you are looking for a step-by-step, someone to walk you through it, help you understand it, he literally takes the approach to where he tackles this subject of family finances from literally every single corner, and there is nothing that escapes his attention. He literally talks about everything and literally teaches you how to fix it if it's running in a wrong way into your family. I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And the biggest problem is that when we were brought up in schools, no one really taught us how to write the checkbooks. No one taught us how to save and how to spend, how to give, and that kind of stuff. So I think this is why we are being brought up in a world where entertainment is all around us, and kids know how to use mom and dad's Apple app and all that stuff. Just keep pushing that button. Amazon Prime, it'll be here tomorrow, right?
I know. Find that little doll.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to admit it to yourself, though. If you're addicted, it's just tough. That's all I'm going to say. So can you quickly describe me some of the steps that Dave Ramsey says? Like the first 3 steps, I believe he had. Could you tell me a little bit about like actual steps of what he will expect you to do in that plan?
Yeah, so he has something very simple that's called baby steps. And I believe there's 7 baby steps. First one is you are going to save up $1,000 for an emergency plan. Again, this is before. First thing you do is you pay off your you cut up your credit cards, and then you save up $1,000 as an emergency rainy day fund. So that's step number 2. And then step number 2 is you would start paying off your credit cards from the smallest balance to the highest balance, not the interest rate, which often gets people, but it's the smallest balance card first. And then by doing that, you're going to go into step 3, where once you're done with that, if you have kids, you would start saving for a college fund. I'm not sure if the steps are in order. I think
that's 4. And then the third one, isn't it the emergency fund, 3 to 6 months?
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been about 3 years since the class.
Yeah. And, I took it just a month ago. So
there you go.
I know.
So you should be sharing the baby steps. Yeah. So and then saving up 3 to 6 months worth your expenses, and then moving on to the children for the college fund, and then step 5. Could you remind me what step 5 was?
I don't remember. But long story short, if you're looking for step-by-step direction, literally take that class. How much does it cost?
It's around $100. I think it's $120 now. But you get so much in the packet. I mean, like I said, the biggest thing is a lifetime membership. But then you get, they have the Every Dollar app, which me and my wife have been using since day one they came out. It's free, but for only $99, you can link up your debit card. So whenever you make that purchase, it automatically goes to the payment
to the budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so pretty much just Google Dave Ramsey and you will find him. You'll find a link to the class. FYI, you cannot register for the class with a credit card. It has to be a debit card. You have to pay cash for it. So now be careful now. All right, so next thing on our line, we got some popcorn questions where we ask you a question and you give us under a minute answer what is going on and how to deal with it. So first, life insurance. What is it? How does it work? Why do we need it? Or maybe I don't need it.
Yeah, so very simple. Deaths occur every 1.78 seconds. In other words, almost every 2 seconds, someone dies on this planet. In other words, it is 1 out of 113 people will die this year. So life insurance is definitely needed for every person who is either working or who has a tremendous amount of value in life, such as a working husband or a working wife, or a mother who's at home with the kids. I mean, she's got one of the biggest jobs in the world, or someone who has value. Kids necessarily don't need a life insurance plan unless if they have some kind of a if they're somehow generating money. Yeah, they're generating money. They're on a commercial or whatever. But most of the time you don't, because I mean, if we were to replace them, it would just be minimal, a couple $1,000, and they're done with. As far as life insurance, so there is a difference between cash value and term life. So term life is definitely the way to go. And the math is very simple. You are paying $100 a month versus cash value, or $7 a month for term for the same amount where you can invest the rest and
somewhere else.
Yeah.
Or pay off your debts.
There you go.
Pay off your debts. All right. So life insurance is there to replace someone's income in case something happens to them.
Yes.
That's why it's there. All right. Cash only. How important is it when it comes down to paying off debt? Why is it so important to go all cash?
Number one thing is first of all, they've made studies on how people, when they spend money using cash versus credit card, and they've put like these 7 or 8 sticker sensors on their brain and their heart, and just to monitor people, studying them for weeks. And interesting to find out that each time someone would swipe a credit card, nothing happens in the brain area.
They just swipe it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when people pay cash, in the back of your brain, this little pain sensor goes off, and it sends you a message that, hey, this is tough. So this is, are you sure this is what you want to do? You know, so definitely cash is the 100% way to go if you're getting out of debt. You forget that you have credit cards. As far as using them, they are cut off and put away, and you're just paying them off as quick as you can. So,
all right. Next one is, and we are getting closer, so let's run with them. Buying a home or a car. How to approach it if you have debt. What do you do about it? Or if you don't have debt, what's the right way to approach buying a home or a car? What's the first thing you would suggest? Yeah,
great question. So I would definitely recommend not buying a home when you are in debt. I mean, it will definitely slow you down. And homes, things break, air conditioner goes off, the heater, plumbing, the
fridge,
floors,
anything.
Yeah, I mean, I remember first month probably when we moved into our new house, I bought my wife this plant, and we've set it on the table, and overnight somehow it got knocked down, and all that water just went on the floor.
Oh man, overnight
you wake up and your brand new floors are bloated and like, no. So I mean, so things do happen, so you definitely
I'm sorry.
Hey, it's okay, lesson learned. So you definitely want to make sure you have no debt when you're going into a house, and then when you do buy that, make that purchase, you definitely want to go in anywhere between 10 and 20% of cash down, so you can avoid the PMI. Yeah. Okay.
What about the car? Same concept?
No. Car is much more simpler. Why? Because they depreciate, like I've mentioned before, and they're way much smaller purchases. So you are better off buying a car with cash. I mean, there's many ways: Craigslist and auctions, or family, friends that you know who's selling a decent, reliable car. You buy that car for cash until you pay off all your credit cards, and then you can afford to kind of move up. And if you need to, I mean, some people like fancy cars, some people don't. I mean, a car is a car, right?
That's true. You are correct when it comes to that, yeah. But so just don't rush into it. Don't just go to dealership, check out that newest Acura, and then just sign up those $45,000 under yourself. You know, might as well just buy a patch of land somewhere, so you can actually own it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe mine some gold or something. All right, so next thing. I think it's the biggest problem that I've faced, addiction. You are addicted to buying. Let me tell you what I did. So I'm used to buying fast food. So every day you grab a cheeseburger or something, right? So when I realized we got to get rid of that, I stopped doing cheeseburger. So I stopped doing cheeseburgers. Then I went on Amazon. I bought tons of stuff on Amazon the next week, and I'm like, wait, something is going on.
Yeah.
So I stopped that, and then I found I saw a need somewhere and I needed to buy something, so I just started buying stuff for other people. So the point is, there's addiction. How do you deal with these addictions when it comes to buying, swiping the card, spending money?
Yeah. So one first thing you want to realize is you need to understand that there's a problem. I have a problem, and this is where I'm failing the most.
I have a problem.
There you go.
All right.
Step number one.
Step number one. We got it down.
Yeah, check. So step number two, you definitely want to pray about it. You know, it's amazing for us. We have this benefit of having a Father who loves and cares so much for us. And in Philippians 4:6, God says to bring all of our requests to Him. As He does in 1 Peter 5:7, God also wants us to give Him all of our worries because He cares for you. So having this wonderful benefit of a Father who, A, gave you a job, and 2, is helping you through this process, He wants us not to worry about stuff. And so if we're going to be asking Him, Lord, you see my problem. It's something that is really hard for me. I am asking you, I am begging you, help me with this. Help me get over this this addiction that I have versus buying stuff online. I got to have that new Coach purse, or I need to get my hair done, or I got to do this, A, B, and C. I mean, the list just keeps going, that things we absolutely need. So just pray about it. And it really helps to have an accountable partner. Your number one partner can be your wife. I mean, that is your most awesome. Yeah, right? Yeah, it should be. I mean, you guys are on one page. You guys are doing this together, you know, or a very close friend. So something that really helped me is having our accountability group with our group of men for the last 5 years plus. Okay. But number one, well, not the number one thing, but something that you really have to consider is once you understand that this is my area where I struggle, you have to stop avoiding those places or start. So you know I'm going to drive this place. Make an extra effort to drive an extra mile so that you're not tempted by that. You don't see that. Or commercials, or stuff online. I mean, going to the mall. Why go to the mall and walk out with nothing? Yeah.
I know. Why go to the mall and walk out with nothing?
There's always something good on sale, and they make clothes look great. I mean, that was my biggest addiction was clothes, and it's amazing how many thousands you just spend on clothes that at the end of a year or 2 years, give them away. Yeah, they're gone, and
got to be really careful.
Yeah.
All right, next thing. Let's be real quick here. Helpful tips on budget. Help me. How can I track it? Because it's very hard to actually track everything you spend. What are easy ways to do it?
Yeah, 2-3 things. Number one, what helps us till this day is Every Dollar app. It's free. You use cash, and you can just really keep track of all your expenses. Your wife and I are on it. Each time my wife makes a payment, or purchase at the store, you can easily break it down from household items, and this was our food. Some of it was clothing, and all that good stuff, miscellaneous. So that's definitely a good one. FPU, on average, a family would pay off anywhere between $5,300 and just a little bit more, and saves over $2,700 in the first 90 days. As you have mentioned, in 3 months you've paid out a significant amount of money. That's amazing. Praise the Lord. And one last thing is just very important, is to make sure that both you and your spouse are on one page. That is one problem that one of the biggest problems is that there's always that one person who doesn't really want to be with you. And either the wife or the husband is going to be saying, come on, we need this. Come on, don't you see? And,
I see how that can go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then right now I want to talk about something kind of leading into the end of all of this discussion, what we've learned, and kind of just like simple life advice from you. What would you advise our listeners to set as their goals in life when it comes to finances and just the lifestyle? What would you advise?
Advice. Well, it is 2018, and the year just begun. We can all look back at last year and say, man, I could have done better here, there. So as I look back, and I'm always learning, one of the biggest things that I keep trying to set my goal, and I love writing things down. So I work in my office, I have a sheet of paper, and I write down my goals. And number one of my goals is spiritual goals. I definitely want to study God's Word, and not just read it, but literally study it, which means be more in it, devote more time, spend more time in prayer, find a good Bible teaching church. Praise the Lord. We have a great church out here in the Bellingham area, Living Word Bible. Invest into relationships. Read a few books a year, attend conferences and seminars. Continually keep growing and living out God's will. There is nothing better than living every day with Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, as our number one goal. Number two really ties in. It's family goals. I make it important to have date nights with my wife. It's we've been doing it for the last 11 years. We got married on September 30th, 2006. So ever since then, on the 30th of each month, we've always go out.
And you never missed it.
I never missed it. So,
You're kidding.
I'm serious.
Wow.
Yeah, so
It's
either
amazing.
before the 30th or after the 30th or on the 30th. So it just depends on how it works out with us. And just to kind of reflect on the last month. What happened? What we can do to improve? Where do you see me changing? What do you think we should be doing, saving for, and stuff like that? As part of family goals, one-on-ones with your kids. And here's a big one for me, is calling your dad and mom once a week. So it's something that's important to invest into family. Another good, helpful goal in life is financial goals. This is where you can change your life. You can change your family. You can change your heritage just by applying simple God's truths and just not living in a way how your neighbor or your friend or your brother or someone else lives. I mean, this is your life. And that's all that matters, is just how you're going to live and teach your children and legacies afterwards. Having a budget and sticking with it. Every single month, we revisit. And then once you're out of debt, which we have been for years now, we just kind of revisit our budget maybe once every 2 to 3 months, just to see what we can do. And so, guys, just remember, debt is normal, right? So be opposite. And one of David Ramsey's quotes is, "Live now like no one else," meaning very humbly and very
poorly in a way.
Poorly. I mean, your parents might think you might need counseling and such. Why? So that later on you can live like no one else. Another goal that is good for my life is fitness. It's very important to stay healthy and stay active, and or have children, because they will force you to go outside and do the things when you come home from work. You just want to relax sometimes. But kids, they're very active, and they've been waiting till dad walks in through that door. And why? Why are we doing all this? I mean, why is it so important to get out of debt and so you can live differently? Here's why: so that you can live and just give generously, outrageously. I mean, imagine living a life and you're able to see how the Lord wants to use you and your finances to give to people and help, so that God's work, His kingdom, is being fulfilled. So, ladies and gentlemen, everyone listening, be blessed, do great things with money, and don't forget to enjoy money. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Nick. We appreciate your help here very much. And with this, we will be taking a small break. Please stay with us. Hello there, listener. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, our radio network airs live shows at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We bring you guests from all over the world and get to discuss tough questions that we as Christians face in modern day. Tune in and do not miss it. Also, recordings of our live shows are now available on our awesome podcast. Find it by simply searching The Voice of Pilgrim in your podcast app or SoundCloud. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Dear friends, our first time and long time listeners, I hope this conversation that we had will change you and your families to become more responsible adults and young adults, adults that control money and know where everything is going rather than letting it all waste away. Next week on our show, we will continue our series, Books of the Bible, today, and we will be introduced to the book of Hezekiah and Ezra. With this, we will end our program. You are listening to the Slavic Christian Radio, the voice of Pilgrim, with our guest, Nick Gavrilov and Aleksey Chayka. Have a blessed day.